Hello and welcome back to My Life's Toil. My name's Neil. I am a 52-year-old man who's been documenting my use of the Mounjaro weight loss injections, which have helped me get back to some sort of fitness and health. Still a long way off, as you'll see. We'll talk about that. And you may have seen some of my previous videos and clips about how my journey has gone so far. A couple of things that we can talk about today. I will be doing a weights update and measurements update that you'll see later on. It's the weekend. I tend to do the jab on a Wednesday, which I document, and I do the weight update on a Wednesday as well as on the weekends as well. Done a couple of things over the last few days. I've documented a blood pressure, which I've put into a little short, which a few people have seen on there, because that's what this was all about with me, about getting back to some sort of health where I'm not in danger of having a cardio or neurological type event. And that's a real issue because a lot of people might think I'm being dramatic, but it's a real issue. I'm in my 50s, I'm 52, and I am absolutely aware that with having high blood pressure and high cholesterol, which is the next thing I'll need to check, that we need to keep an eye on these things. And being an obese male, it's getting better. I am at high risk. I see it every day. I work in a GP surgery as a paramedic, and I see people like me, some better, some worse, some people that have had a lot of nasty history because of their weight. And it got to the stage where I needed to do something about it. And as we have discussed before, to arrive at using this weight loss medication or these injections, it's taken a lot of us a long time to get here because we've probably struggled most of our adult lives. I know I have, and it only gets worse as you get older, doesn't it? And if you're not quite as old as I am or we are, you might just struggle with your weight anyway and things don't work for you. And as we've discussed in the previous couple of videos, that this Mounjaro doesn't work for everyone, and I've seen some frustrations in some people, and I actually do really feel for them because, like any medication, it suits some, doesn't suit others. But let's have a good chat today because there's been some really good support from me, especially from last weekend when we had the Easter weekend and we were talking about certain things that can ruin diets for us. But somebody pointed out in one of the comments only today, actually, and it was a really good, valid comment. And a lot of people have touched upon this, that sometimes when we fall off the wagon, as we call it, it can ruin the whole thing. And let's face it, that's where a lot of our diets end, isn't it? I've been on Slimming World, I've followed like Weight Watchers type plans before. And sometimes you get to that stage where you just run out of the willpower to keep it going, don't you? And as with me, it could be that piece of chocolate that leads onto the bar of chocolate that leads onto a packet of chocolates or a box of chocolates. Some people, it'll be that glass of wine that leads onto a bottle of wine that then leads onto a late night curry. And then the next day you think, well, it's all over now, isn't it? And we just go back to our old selves. Whereas, as a lot of people have commented, that why does it have to be like that? Last weekend, when I said I'd had half an Easter egg, well, that was like half of a big Easter egg and some Cadbury's cream eggs, which, as you could probably see on the thumbnail of the YouTube, I was alluding to. And I did literally fall off the wagon, and I had like a snacky night. And if it hadn't been for doing this and the support of everybody out there, that could have been that moment where I was just like, that, leave it. If I wasn't doing this, and I know a lot of people get some really good motivation from following me, and that's what this is all about. We fall off, don't we? And the next day, and that's where our diets come to an end. So, get into what these people were saying on the comments. And we all say it, but we've got to know what we're saying and listen to what's being said. Is tomorrow's another day, and just that one day when, if you do have a night off, some people have a day off every week and it suits them. and they accept it. And those people have got more willpower than I have, because if that's where it can go wrong for me, because that one day off, and I've even found myself saying, oh well, maybe 2 days won't hurt then, and I'll get back on it tomorrow. And it's like the James Bond film, is it Tomorrow Never Comes sometimes? And it's like, well, and then you find yourself where you're thinking, oh God, when was the last time I ate healthily? It's been a week now. And you think, well, and then the thoughts just go, and life becomes as it was, and we carry on, and we put weight on, and we just like hide behind ourselves, don't we, sometimes? But we've got to, and if we can do this on here, because we have, as I keep saying, got a lot of really good support, some really learned quite people on here, because quite learned people anyway, because we've all been there, we've all done it, and the support that I'm seeing between people on the chat is superb. Tomorrow is another day. If you've had a bad day, if you've fallen off the wagon, now this is a good time for this video to go out, because pick back up tomorrow, start with a clean slate, get back on it. And I've proved that we can do that, because this week I'm going to weigh in. It's going to be all as it happens again. And I didn't lose anything in the half week between last weekend and Wednesday. And I was happy because I didn't put on as well. And you've got to take every little bit of positivity that you can, and almost ignore the negativity. Unless you can use the negativity as a fuel, the danger is using that negativity as a sort of reverse positive in a way, if that makes sense. Whereas you go, oh, well, I'll have another day off, and don't try and get stuck in that mindset. I am actually itching to get the measurements and weights done. One, because I want to really see if I am back on track. So let's go in. I'm going to set it up in the kitchen. We'll do a live weigh-in. Well, it won't be live, it'll be recorded, but you will see it as I see it as well. So let's go and do that. So let's get some measurements done. I'm only going to do my chest and my waist. Now, when I say my waist, I go around my belly button, so I can get a good marker, really. When I look at my sideward pictures like this, that's the bit that used to stick out the most for me. So I think that's probably the best place to go. Some people, their waist is a bit lower than the belly button, but as long as you stick to the same sort of measurement, so you can see what you're getting and see your progress, basically, that's the best thing. Chest can be a bit awkward, but as long as you're pretty much in the same ballpark, you should be fine. Get that right up here. Last week, my chest was, and I'm doing it in centimetres now, and I'll put on the screen what the inches are, just because, obviously, because the dimensions are smaller, like you'll get 2.5 centimetres to an inch, it can be more accurate. So sometimes between the inches, there doesn't seem to be a lot, whereas in centimetres, you can gauge it more accurately, can't you? So I'll do that from now on. Last week was 124 centimetres around the chest, and this week, and I do my measurements weekly rather than the weight that I do twice weekly, don't I? So this is, let's just relax everything down, let it all flop out. Right, so we are exactly 122, 2 centimetres off in a week, off my chest. So that's really positive. That's back on track. My waist was 117 centimetres last week. So let's get the waist done. I always come around the belly button, as I say. Just keep it at the same mark, so don't get moving it about. I go across the belly button, basically, because that, when I look at the sidewards picture here, that's the bit that looked like it stuck out the more for me, and that was the biggest measurement I had. Last week was 117 centimetres. This week, we are 115.5 centimetres. So that's 1.5 off the belly, which is really good. I'm not going to bother with the thigh because that doesn't seem to move around much. So that's really positive. Should we go and do the weight? So just to remind ourselves, I was 117.2 last weekend, still 117.2 on Wednesday on jab day. So anything today will be a bonus. Right then, so here we go. Let's get this as it happens. Stand on here, and we are 106. I think that was 116. So I've lost just over a kilo since Wednesday. Right, it's actually transferred over as 116.1 kilograms. I'm back on track. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you. I am absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Chuffed to bits, and I use that word a lot, but I am so pleased. Amazing. Yeah, back on track. I'm a little bit strange, but yeah, really happy. As you probably just saw, I am over the moon with the weigh-in. So from last week, just to recap, 117.2 kilos. Same on Saturday, same on Wednesday, which is 258 pounds, 18 stone, 6 pounds. This week, totally unexpected. As I say, I'm chuffed. 116.1, it actually transferred over to the app as in kilos, 256 pounds, 18 stone, 4 pounds. I am edging closer to that 17 stone bracket, which will be absolutely massive for me because I can't remember the last time I was 17 stone something. I'm just letting that sink in. It's just we've got to. It's a kilo, yeah. It's only a kilo, but kilo is still massive, isn't it? I mean, but it feels good this week. No, I mean I've been feeling nauseous as I say, but on the mornings, oh god, the nausea. Well, let's talk a little bit in a little bit about some of the side effects because people are still discussing them. Um, but today I feel really good. I've made these flapjacks as well, which if you have a look, I've done a little short, or I'm in the process of just editing it actually, because I said I'd do more about the food stuff. And I've used that Supreva powder, which I've said that I'd use, and it makes absolutely wonderful flapjacks. They're lower fat flapjacks using oats. There's no sugar whatsoever in there, and I've used this like olive butter margarine thing that's healthier for you. So I worked out that they were something like about 120 calories per piece, and that's for a nice size piece. But they're not like really moist. They're like a crispy, more like a granola bar, but they are nice. Have a look at that short if you're interested in doing that. And there is a discount code for the Supreva, which is Neil10. I'll put on the screen, and I'll put on this video as well the website to go. And if you wanted to order it, but like I said before on the previous one, I had the butter biscuit flavour, and it's so strong. You only need a tiny bit. It's lovely. So go and have a look at that. One of the things I did want to just touch upon, the comments have been so brilliant this week, and like I keep saying, that the positivity that I'm getting and how it's being received back as well, not just from me, but other people putting really good points on, and everyone reading these comments has been really, really good. And I'm getting some really good motivation from all of you, which is fantastic because I've never dreamt that it would get like this. This was just initially about me just using it as a motivation for me to, and it's working, obviously, but to keep going. And I feel almost like I'm doing it alongside. It's like I'm a member of a club. I hope people feel that you're a member of something. And of course, I'm not leading up to this, but you can actually join the channel as well. You know, I'm not even sure how you do it. People are asking me, how do you join the channel? And apparently there's a join button somewhere. I think it's under the videos. If you're on the laptop, I don't know if you can actually join on the telly, because a lot of people, if you're like me of a certain age, you like to get YouTube on the telly, don't you? Because I only watch YouTube. I don't watch normal telly anymore, and Netflix and things like that. But yeah, but you don't have to join. You don't. There are certain things that people get. Like, I mean, I'll respond to everyone anyway, but the members always get their comments and things like that seen. And I do put the videos out before they go out for everybody, for the members only. But everyone will see them. Everyone see them, but it's great. I love the support. But the support has been superb. And in fact, let me mention some of the people that have joined because I've got some new ones this week, and I said that I would shout them out. Yeah, so I've got a few people that have joined. James Randall, Penny Brass, Cottages on Arran, Lynn T, I've mentioned Lynn before, and we got Ian as well, Ian Cotton, which is lovely to have you all with me. I always try and get back to those. I get back to all the comments, don't I? So getting a lot of people mention about stepping back down Mounjaro from 7.5 to 5 or from 5 to 2.5. They are finding just some of the side effects, the minor side effects, just a little bit too much for them. I can totally understand where you're coming from. And as usual, I always say if the lower doses work for you and you're getting the results you want, then stay on them. There's no need to step up just because you're being told to or it's part of the plan. So I've stayed on the 5s this week, and in a way, I'm so glad. The first 24 hours, and I mentioned this on some of the comments actually, on the Wednesday night, I had food cravings. Bear in mind, it was sort of mid afternoon when I took the jab, and I thought I was going to struggle. However, the following morning, which was the Thursday when I did the blood pressure readings at work, I felt nauseous. I didn't feel hungry at all. And it, this is the thing. And I was asking myself, when I'm not eating, is when the Mounjaro is helping with the food noise, is that because I'm nauseous? And I don't think it is, because when I first started the Mounjaro, this would be an interesting one to open up to people actually. Is it because you're nauseous that you're not eating? Or is it just because you don't fancy picking? And I think if I remember back to the first few weeks, I just didn't feel hungry. That's how I remember or how I recall it. Whereas on the 5s, it is more of a nausea and I can't eat, although I haven't felt hungry anyway. But as the day goes on, the nausea wears off anyway, and I tend to just make sure that I'm able to eat healthy on the evening. Haven't picked at all since the last time. But yeah, but I'm hearing that there's people that have had loose stools, diarrhea, they've had vomiting, and they're stepping back down. And I am seeing good results for the people that step back down as well. Also seeing where people have stepped up and it feels like it doesn't work as well for them. So that's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because I noticed a little bit of that when I moved up to the 5s. I think Robert again mentioned that he'd gone up to 7.5s, and he suggested to me because of the cravings that were coming back for me that I probably needed to go up to the 7.5s. But it has been a better week this week on my second month of 5 milligrams. So this is week 1 of my second 5 milligram jabs, if that makes sense. Instead of, I should have started the 7.5s. So I am hoping that the 5s are going to work for me, but without confusing the matter. It's so in the balance, isn't it? Sometimes you just don't know how you're going to feel from one day to the next. Like I say, the nausea wears off in the mornings, but I wake up feeling dog rough sometimes. Something else I wanted to mention on this week's one, after speaking to, this came from a couple of people that have messaged on Facebook Messenger actually, and also a colleague at work that mentioned this, which I found interesting. I don't know how many people out there are using MedExpress for their doses and their Mounjaro, but apparently they're being told that they're really restricting the discount codes, and there's a lot of people that's been making a lot of money using these discount codes. And I don't know. Someone was telling me it was hundreds, even thousands of pounds, and I don't know. I don't know. I haven't even looked into it because I'm not interested in doing that, to be honest with you. That's not why I'm doing this. Um, but they're clamping down on it. And everyone that uses the discount codes from MedExpress, if you're using that and you're sending out discount codes and posting them, and I've seen them on my channel as well. And sometimes, if it's just no one that's taking part, I will, if it's just randomly there or if it's repeated too much, I will remove them because one, it just looks untidy, and also I like to keep my comment section clean. If I don't respond to a comment, it just sits there, and I don't want it to. I want to try and reply to anyone that I can, and if I haven't replied to yet, or replied to a reply because they don't always show up. I apologise. But yeah, so MedExpress are going to be sending out, they've given them a cut-off date. And if they've overused their codes to share with people, they're sending out these like little bug type robot things that will find these comments and actually delete them. And I thought that was quite interesting. Is anyone out there that's using these codes or sharing them about? Do you know much about it? Can you shine some light on what's been going on there? Apparently it's impacted the business and it's sort of really oversaturating the discount side of things. No, I haven't. I haven't had any discounts. The only discount I've had is for my first order. I got a discount with Juniper when I first started, and then I paid the full whack. And the same with Checkup, who I'm with at the moment. I mean, I'm always looking. I mean, I won't literally stay with someone just for the sake of it. And I'm not advocating for any of them, but you can shop around. I mentioned the Monj website before, and I've shared that again with a few people on the messages. I'll share that again in the box down below, just so you can use it. You should be able to, even if you've been on plan for a little while, you should be able to provide proof that you've been taking a certain dose and then continue with somebody else. You don't have to necessarily start again, which would make no sense whatsoever. And you should be able to swap to another prescriber. And I know some people have commented that there's been difficulties with this, but if you can just show an email from who you had before and get that sent off, you shouldn't have a problem. They should be able to listen to you. That's why I went. That was why I was able to go to Checkup. Just provide some basic information, and you can move around. And that's why Monj, Monj, is a good site to look at if you do shop around. A colleague I work with, they do it pretty much every time they need a new dose, and it works. And because this stuff is really expensive, isn't it? So if that works for you, brilliant. And just to round off with for today, or for this half week, there's been a few people asking the sort of things that I do eat whilst I'm on the plan. And I'm still, during the week, I take one Huel, that meal replacement drink, and I'm not endorsed by them in any way. I wish I was, because I've mentioned them that many times, but that's not what it's about, as I say. And that ensures that I'm getting some sort of fluids. It's easy for me to sip on that during the morning when I feel nauseous, so I'll still know I'm getting fluids, and I know I'm getting the calories. 2 scoops, I think it is 400 calories, so I can count that or know roughly where I am. Sometimes I'll just skip lunch if I've been having that, or I'll just have some high protein yogurts with some fruit, and then I'll have a proper good tea or dinner on the night time, and that will usually include something like high protein stuff again, like so fish. Sometimes it'll be salad, sometimes it'll be lots of vegetables, and then sometimes another yogurt just to finish off with as well. But I'm not snacking at the moment. There have been a few times. Sometimes on the night I'll have something. It's not very often now, but I have cut my bread right down. On the dinners, I'm aiming for me, between 16 and 1800 calories a day. I've never really been over the 1800, although when I've had the chocolate fixes, I know I have. Those are the days that I didn't count. And if anything, I'm usually under. But if I start to get headaches, I'm making sure I'm drinking plenty of fluids. And sometimes I'll have 3 yogurts a day. I'll have like a milkshake using the flavour powder as well. That can help. Um, and I can probably count how many slices of bread I have in a week now. No more than two to four slices, and that will be sometimes for beans on toast if I just fancy that. Or I love the tin mackerel on toast, which I've been having. But my main tea on the night time, call it tea here, it's dinner for most people, isn't it? It'll be quite a big dinner, which I struggle with, and I have to eat really slow. Has anyone else noticed this as well? You get full up so quickly now. But I do a lot of stir fry type things. I'll do low fat type curries, which I think I showed one before, didn't I? So it'll be low fat yogurt. I'll make it all from scratch. So use all the spices and things like that. Tomato puree, because I don't really like tomatoes. Fresh garlic, those type of things. Powdered coriander sometimes. Lots and lots of chicken, mushroom, peppers. I'll even throw in on certain curries, there'll be peas, there'll be potatoes sometimes as well. not so much in the way of rice. So something, and yeah, I have been collating a few clips of some food ideas that I've been doing as well. But we touched upon this many times over recent weeks, and we still need to enjoy. We still need to enjoy the foods that we have. There's nothing worse than being on some plans like this, finding eating boring, find it a chore. You've still got to love your food because that's why we're in this position. We love our foods, but it's about letting the lack of food cravings, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, make good choices. I know there's a lot of people out there that can start the Mounjaro and they eat, drink, and still lose weight. They are the lucky few. It won't last forever, but most of us, we have to still work at it. And like I've said, this is a tool in our toolbox. We use it to help us rather than rely on it completely. Some people can rely on it, and we've seen that, and I've seen that in the comments this week. But let's try and be, I don't want to teach it, I don't want it to sound like it's going to sound, but let's try and be sensible about the use of this, because there's some people, and I know some of the comments I'm getting through, I've been on Monjaro for however long, it's not doing anything for me. And when it comes down to it, they're not following any type of plan. They're not counting calories. And I've mentioned the apps before. I'll put them back up. You got My Fitness Pal, which I initially used, and then NutriCheck, which is really good. I like the NutriCheck one. Don't use it every day because that can get boring as well. Just when I think I'm really under, and I can keep a check on where I am, so I'm not too low on the calories, or if I'm getting near going over. And it gives me that kick to stick to plan as well by doing that, but I don't overdo it, so it keeps me sort of on an even keel. I'll put them up again as well for you. So let's leave it there for the weekend. I'll be back on. I'll be back. I'll be back. So I'll be back on Wednesday to do my next jab, next 5 milligram jab. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And if you're happy for me to use your name, give you a mention, that would be great. And if I don't know the answer straight away, I'll always find out the right answers for you because I've got good access to that sort of support. So yeah, drop any comments. The positivity has been lovely. Keep it coming. Have a good week. Be positive, and we'll speak to each other on Wednesday. See you soon.